All right, we are doing limits of trigonometric functions. Trigonometry. Well, let's go ahead and basically we're going to, let me write it a little bit better. We're doing the limit as x goes to pi over 6 of sine of x. Now usually we just plug in whatever x is going to into our function. So basically this is going to be equal to the sine of pi over 6. Well, do you remember what the sine of pi over 6 is? Gee, that's why I had to, let's see, look up special right triangle. So that's how we would do it for the ones that are a little more difficult. So pi over 6, to convert it in my terms, is I want to do it into degrees. So 180 degrees is the same thing as pi, so I'm just multiplying it by 1. Pi's cancel. 6 goes into 180 30 times. All right, so this is really 30 degrees. All right, so let's go ahead and draw our special right triangle. That's how I remember it. And all right, so I know it's x, 2x, and then radical 3x. Okay, down here is our 60, up here is our 30 in degrees, and then this is a 90 for our special right triangle. So we're talking about the sine of 30 degrees, basically. Sine, SOHCAHTOA, so we're looking at the opposite over adjacent. All right, so sine is opposite over adjacent, so this is our op. Adjacent, I meant hypotenuse. And here's our height. All right, so, and this is a 1 and a 2. So I don't need the x's here, but it's 1 and 2. All right, so the sine of, which is the same as 30 degrees as pi over 6, is equal to op over height, which is equal to, the opposite is 1, the hypotenuse is 2. So all that work for 1/2. All right, but at least we know how to do it now, and we can get it right in the future. Okay. Next one, tangent pi over 2. Pi over 2 is 90 degrees, so for this one, I think about the tangent function. So you have to have these kind of memorized in order to kind of be able to use whichever one's kind of appropriate for here. So this is negative pi over 2. This is pi over 2 for the asymptotes. So as we do, so basically what this is saying is we're trying to calculate tangent of pi over 2, and it doesn't even exist. It's unbounded on this one. So the limit doesn't exist in the sense that it doesn't go to anything in particular. It goes to, in this case, positive infinity. Gets closer and closer to positive infinity, which doesn't, which would be in this case the doesn't exist option. Okay. So each one of these is kind of using our tools from trigonometry that we've been practicing to kind of see where it's appropriate. Cotangent. We don't talk about cotangent much, but let's go ahead and I'll take care of this one lastly. All right, so pi over 6. So that was that last trick of pi over 6 times 180 over pi for me, and then this goes into it 3 times again, so 30. All right, so I'd use my special right triangles for 30, but what is cotangent? So let's take a look. So we got sine, cosine, and tangent. We also got cosecant, cotangent, and secant. All right, so here's how I remember it. First, SOHCAHTOA. And then sine is op over hypotenuse, cosine adjacent over hypotenuse, tangent is opposite over adjacent, right? So then how I remember these is this is the reciprocal of tangent. So cotangent is reciprocal of tangent. So that's adjacent over opposite. So I just kind of relate it to these. Secant has a C and an S in it. Which one starts with a C and an S? Cosine. So secant is the reciprocal of cosine. So that would be hypotenuse over adjacent. And then our last one of cosecant, I just kind of filled in. So I took care of cosine already. So cosecant is the same as the reciprocal of sine, hypotenuse over opposite. All right. So in this case, we're dealing with cotangent, adjacent over opposite. So we would look at our triangle again, do it exactly the same way as our special right triangle. We got our 90. We're looking at, this is our 60, this is our 30, and we got 1, 2, and radical 3. And we don't need the x's. The x's are just kind of to help us if we have different type of numbers we have to deal with, but usually this is our foundation. So we're looking at 30 degrees here. The cotangent is adjacent, so that would be this guy, over opposite. Opposite is over here from our 30 degrees. So the cotangent adjacent, radical 3 over opposite 1, or just radical 3. Okay, and then if you had the radical 3 on the bottom, I'd have to multiply both top and bottom by radical 3. You never should have radicals in the bottom. But for this one, it's just radical 3. So using the tools to kind of build each one as we need it. Okay, last one, sine of pi over 3. That would be 60 degrees, doing our last trick and using that special triangle and doing it that way.